Station, this is Houston. Are you ready for the event?
Houston, this is a space station. We are ready for the event.
Ambassador Sullivan, this is Mission Control Houston. Please call station for a voice check.
Station, this is Ambassador Sullivan. How do you hear me?
Ambassador Sullivan, welcome aboard the International Space Station and the crew of Expedition 63, where we hear you loud and clear.
Terrific. Well, it's great to be with you today, to the crew, to mark this historic anniversary. Good afternoon from us in Moscow. I'm honored to participate in this event marking the APOLLO-SOYUZ test project's 45th anniversary. One of the first accomplished in space jointly by our two countries in July 1975 was managing the challenge of docking the American Apollo and the Russian Soyuz spacecrafts with different atmospheres. The overall time of 46 hours flown in space together as one crew was a great historic accomplishment for the technical teams on the ground and the courageous 5 men in space. The APOLLO-SOYUZ test project was an indispensable technical precursor of the Mir shuttle program in the 1990s. And of course, you are the beneficiaries of the current International Space Station program, which we're communicating with today. The United States and Russia are still using significant engineering achievements of that original joint project. From a human standpoint, it's highly notable that the two commanders, General Tom Stafford and General Alexey Leonov, became close friends and maintained their friendship until Alexey Arkhipovanic's recent passing. Just a few weeks ago, on June 27th, we marked the 25th anniversary of another historical achievement in space accomplished by our two countries. In 1995, the Space Shuttle Atlantis STS-71 crew successfully docked with the Russian Mir space station. Atlantis delivered a special docking module made by Russian engineers, which made it possible to connect two different engineering systems in space. To this day, our countries continue the tradition of the historic handshake in space, established in July 1975. Each time a new crew arrives at the International Space Station, we see how the current crew gives a hearty greeting to the newcomers. As we all know, we have Expedition 63 on board the space station, which includes U.S. astronauts Chris Cassidy, Doug Hurley, and Bob Behnken, and Russian cosmonauts Anatoly, Ivanishin, and Ivan Vagner. This is truly an international crew committed to working together in space. And whether you travel to the station on the Soyuz or the Crew Dragon, these expeditions show how the entire world benefits when we work together to pursue gains in scientific endeavors and explore the furthest reaches of the universe. And in the spirit of this joint cooperation, I understand that Elon Musk and the Korolev family had a very cordial call last week to pass along their mutual respect for the historical achievements of Sergei Pavlovich Korolev and for Elon Musk's recent accomplishments. This cooperative engagement is really heartwarming and brings us all closer together. Once again, I want to congratulate you on the 45th anniversary of the Apollo-Soyuz docking. And I was noting to my colleagues, I'm old enough that 1975 doesn't seem that long ago to me. But when I think about all the changes that have happened since then, in 1975, Leonid Brezhnev was the general secretary of the Communist Party of the USSR. Gerald Ford was president of the United States. And Chris, I hope you're a baseball fan. You'll appreciate my Boston Red Sox were on the verge of playing and losing an historic World Series to the Cincinnati Reds. But then I think about all that's happened over those 45 years in the relationship between the Soviet Union and the United States, and now Russia and the United States. And one constant positive story has been our cooperation in space. So it's my great honor to commemorate this 45th anniversary and to wish you great success during the remainder of your time aboard the space station. And now I have the honor to welcome my friend and colleague from the Russian Foreign Ministry, Vasily Vladimirovich Boryak, the Deputy Director of the Department of North America, to make some remarks. Thank you.
Добрый день, уважаемые члены экипажа МКС. Я представляю Департамент Министерства иностранных дел, отвечающий за российско-американские отношения. Участвовать в праздновании 45-й годовщины полета «Союз Аполлон» совместно с вами – большая честь. Благодарю наших хозяев, его превосходительство посла Салливана за такую возможность. К договоренности о проведении совместного космического эксперимента Советский Союз и Соединенные Штаты подошли не сразу. В 60-е годы наши ученые, представители Академии наук, представители НАСА начали договариваться о первых космических совместных экспериментах. А в 1972 году было подготовлено и заключено уже полноценное межправительственное соглашение о сотрудничестве в космосе. Таким образом, политики и дипломаты тоже внесли свой вклад в подготовку и в продвижение проекта «Аполлон-Союз». Конечно, весьма скромно. В последовавшие 3 года после заключения соглашения всеми участниками космических программ и советской, и американской были проведены колоссальные работы, решены серьезные инженерные задачи, реализованы непростые решения, обеспечившие успех этого полета. Именно в этот день, в июле 45 лет назад, на орбите произошло знаменитое рукопожатие, о котором говорил господин посол. После этого и советское руководство, и президент США Джеральд Форд направили свои поздравления экипажам. Общий смысл этих посланий был в том, что эксперимент «Союз Аполлон» прокладывает путь к полноценному международному сотрудничеству в освоении космоса. Прошедшие годы подтвердили полную справедливость этой оценки. Извините, я должен свериться с нашими хозяевами. Я могу продолжать или...
On this day in July, 45 years ago, a famous handshake took place in an orbit. My esteemed colleague ambassador has mentioned that as well. And the Soviet leadership and the U.S. President Gerald Ford congratulated the crew. The overall message in all of the leadership congratulations was that this test, APOLLO-SOYUZ program, was paving the way to the full-fledged international cooperation in space, and the subsequent years have proven that that message was true.
Каждый шаг в космических исследованиях открывает нам новые горизонты. Наше общее стремление к их достижению ставит все более сложные и от этого, уверен, все более увлекательные задачи для новых поколений ученых, инженеров, космонавтов и астронавтов. Хотелось бы надеяться, что и на будущих этапах космической Одиссеи мы сможем находить общие интересы, а накопленный опыт сотрудничества по-прежнему будет востребован. Присоединяюсь к поздравлениям по случаю годовщины эксперимента «Союз Аполлон» и желаю экипажам успешного продолжения полета. Спасибо.
And each step in space exploration opens new horizons in more and more complex exploration stages and sets new tasks and goals for engineers and astronauts and cosmonauts. New stages of Space Odyssey are going to be very interesting, and I hope our accumulated experience will come useful for years to come. Congratulations on this anniversary of the APOLLO-SOYUZ program, and congratulations to the crew. Thank you.
Gentlemen, I think
Well,
we
gentlemen,
have
thank you very much for your... Oh, go ahead, Ambassador.
questions, but I wanted to turn, before that, I wanted to turn the mic over to you, Chris, and your colleagues for anything you want to say.
Well, both of you, thank you for your time, and it's a real honor to join you on this historic 45th anniversary of Apollo-Soyuz. We are halfway through our time, but on board the space station. But in all of our careers as cosmonauts and astronauts, it's been very normal, the partnership between Russia and the United States space programs, and we owe all of that to our forefathers on the Apollo-Soyuz crews, engineers, and specialists that enabled it to happen, and how we live in the world of the International Space Station, where it's just part of our everyday life, and it's nice to stop every now and then, like today, and appreciate how important it is, our two countries' partnerships in space.
Господин посол, Василий Владимирович, мы благодарим вас за теплые слова, которые мы услышали в свой адрес. Конечно, 45 лет со дня стыковки Аполло-Союз — это очень большое событие. И в 1975 году, когда стыковка произошла, мне было всего 6 лет, я только собирался пойти в школу. И тогда я еще не понимал, насколько важное событие произошло и какое влияние оно окажет на мою последующую жизнь. И это большая честь для всех нас сегодня принимать участие в праздновании этого события, находясь на борту Международной космической станции, которая стала символом международного сотрудничества в космосе, сотрудничества, первый шаг которому был положен ярким полетом кораблей «Союз» и «Аполлон».
Dear Mr. Ambassador and Vasily Vladimirovich, thank you very much for your welcome, for your kind words. It is indeed a great anniversary, 45 years, a great date. I remember that back in 1975, when this historic event took place, I was just 6 years old, and I was about to go to school. And at that point, I could not yet appreciate all the magnitude of that event. And now it is a great honor for us to celebrate this historic event aboard the International Space Station, which has become the symbol of international cooperation.
Спасибо вам большое за уделенное внимание. И это наш общий праздник, это общий праздник международного сотрудничества. И в 1975 году, 45 лет назад, было положено начало международному сотрудничеству в космосе, которое впоследствии вылилось в программу «Мир Шаттл» в 90-х. И сейчас мы находимся на Международной космической станции, где уже многие страны принимают участие в освоении космического пространства. И я надеюсь, полеты к Луне и следующие космические миссии, более интересные, будут уже в международной кооперации. И действительно первым шагом к этому была стыковка Союза Аполлон. Поздравляю всех с общим праздником.
Once again, thank you very much for the kind words and for your congratulations. And indeed, we are celebrating the 45th anniversary here aboard the International Space Station. It was a really, truly great first stepstone to the international cooperation in space, which paved the way to the future Mir shuttle program. And now it is the ISS where so many countries participate and work together in space. We are also looking forward to the future cooperation on the lunar programs and beyond. And we are truly grateful that we have this opportunity to be here on the station and participate in this wonderful international cooperation. Thank you so much.
Well, Chris, Anatoly, and Ivan, it is a great honor for me to be able to participate in this video conference with you. I can tell you, I've served a number of years in government. I've had the honor of being Deputy Secretary of State before serving as Ambassador to Russia, and there is nothing in my career to date that matches having NASA Capcom communicating with me, and then my being able to communicate with you. It's a real thrill, and as somebody who has been followed our respective space programs closely, with you astronauts and cosmonauts following in the footsteps of legends like Yuri Gagarin and Alan Shepard, it's a real honor to be able to do that. I wonder if you could tell us what are the goals of your mission, what you've accomplished to date, and you've got several months left before your mission concludes. What are you looking to accomplish?
Well, that's a great question. There's so much going on here on the space station. It's hard to capturize all that in one succinct answer. But in general, we're taking care of ourselves, we're taking care of the space station, and we're taking care of science and research. And that's how I kind of categorize every single day, which blurs into every single week up here. We're executing a really, really robust science program. Both Anatoly and Ivan have daily science, as do myself and Bob and Doug. And that is in a whole host of different areas of scientific research. But then to enable that, we have to keep the space station running. And it's a big mechanical system which requires maintenance and sometimes repairing things that fail. So a portion of our time is spent on that. And then the rest of the time I lump into taking care of ourselves. Eating, sleeping, and exercise. This takes up a surprising amount of time. As long as we're healthy and the space station's healthy, then we can do our primary mission, which is push the boundaries of science exploration off the surface of the Earth. So specifically, we've done a couple spacewalks in the last few weeks, and then of course the science is ongoing.
Yeah, did I hear that Doug and Bob did a spacewalk yesterday?
Say that one more time, Ambassador. I didn't quite hear.
That your colleagues Doug and Bob, I was told, did a spacewalk recently, within the last few days.
Yeah, myself and Bob did a spacewalk yesterday, and 2 weeks ago as well. That was our third one together, and in 4 days we'll do one final spacewalk before they start wrapping up their mission, and it's looking like the Dragon capsule will return to Earth sometime around the first week in August. So that's really not so far away, and their 2 months here has really gone by very quickly for us.
Well, we've all seen the movies of astronauts and cosmonauts doing spacewalks. As someone who's actually done one, can you describe for us the sensation of being out in outer space and not inside that comfy-looking station?
Well, you know, I'm asked this question a lot, and I've come up with a good analogy. Imagine that you're at the top of a skyscraper inside the building, and you put your face up against the glass and you look down, it's really far, and you think, wow, it's far down there. But you feel safe because your feet are on the floor and your hand is holding a handrail and there's glass between you. As soon as you open the hatch on a spacewalk and you go outside, it's the same thing as being one more flight up in that tall skyscraper, and now your toes are standing over the edge of the building and you're looking down and your brain is saying, what are you doing? This is not a safe place to be. And you can have that feeling on a spacewalk when you're just one hand holding and you see between your toes Earth going 5 miles a second. And you can let that distract you. But fortunately, we have very good training in a pool, both in Star City and in Houston. And it's a very comforting thought to mentally put yourself in the pool, because the space station looks similar to what we train on, and that settles you down and you get on with the work. But it is really quite eye-opening the first time that hatch opens and you see the grandeur of the space station contrasted with the Earth below. It's unbelievable.
Well, I must say, it's very impressive to see you let go of the microphone or pass it without actually physically passing it to Anatoly and Ivan as it floats in space. I wonder if I might ask Anatoly or Ivan, I mean, we've seen, as an American, I've seen a lot of movies and television programs about the U.S. Space program, and whether it's The Right Stuff or Tom Hanks saving the day in another movie. I get a sense of what motivates Americans to become astronauts and how they're idealized, quite rightfully so, as heroes. I'm assuming it's the same is true in Russia, that cosmonauts are, as astronauts are in the United States, really looked up to. And I wonder if I might ask, what inspired you to become a cosmonaut?
It's difficult to say. When I was growing up, we always heard about the people who flew to space, but it's even difficult for me to remember when it was for the first time when I started thinking that this is a possibility for me one day to fly to space. But finally it happened, and I became a cosmonaut. And my first mission was in 2011. And, you know, because we are working in this joint program, International Space Station program, we have training all over the world. We have quite often business trips to the United States, to Europe, to Japan. And when you start getting ready to your space flight, you start working with different space agencies, you know more people. And I want to mention that my business trips to different space agencies, NASA including, has always been very good, and I remember very warm relation with the people, with the instructors, and I think that the fact that we have been so successful in flying to space together arises from the fact that we have a feeling of mutual respect to each other.
Well, I sense in the U.S. government, and I know in the Russian government as well, real momentum behind our respective space programs and optimism for the future, which is really, had dimmed a little bit, I might say, over the last couple of decades. And I know Chris mentioned the moon program and beyond. Give me a sense of what your, as experienced astronauts and cosmonauts, what your hopes are for the future for space exploration, and in what sort of time frame do you think?
Well, I think that international cooperation is sort of embedded in the fabric of space culture these days, and that for sure will continue. And Ivan, I think it was Ivan that mentioned we look forward to seeing this on a lunar mission, and the technologies that we're really fine-tuning on board the International Space Station are going to be the bedrock of technologies that allow us safely to go to the moon and then eventually on to Mars. So a robust environmental control system is a perfect example. It's taken a few years of the space station operation to really understand how we can reclaim our water so effectively, and that now will be part of going to the moon and going to Mars, because you need water, you need food, you need a way to process all those things, and that's just a small example of the part that we've learned on the station. So what I'm most excited for is seeing expedition crews beyond low Earth orbit. I don't believe it'll be in my and Anatoly's time frame as cosmonauts and astronauts. We never know. It certainly could be in Ivan. It's Ivan's first mission. It's our third mission. So Ivan has the possibility of going on to the moon and possibly Mars. But whenever it is, it's something that I think will be very uniting. So think about this. When people walked on the moon, it was grainy black and white televisions and radios. When somebody walks on the moon again, or eventually onto Mars, every single person on the planet, probably, maybe I'm exaggerating by 10 or 15 people, but almost everybody is going to have a mobile device in their hand with the live streaming footage from that person's helmet camera walking around on the planet. And how cool will that be? How uniting will that be to have the entire world focused on this one positive event? And I think that, particularly in 2020, that's something we can all look forward to.
Absolutely inspiring words, Chris. If I might ask one final question of Ivan, since you're the most junior, and this is your first time on the space station, is there anything that surprised you when you arrived on station about either life on the space station or anything that was a surprise to you, and how well prepared did you feel?
The most surprises for me, it's weightlessness. Of course, it's very difficult to imitate on the ground, and all effects which connected with weightlessness, all of this have a big surprise. And the second thing, it's maybe engines, like engines is working. It's very interesting, and when you feel it in a real, and it's very interesting, and not famous for you, because on the ground you couldn't imitate this process too.
We've only got a couple of minutes left, so if I might ask one final question to the group of you, what would you say to young people in Russia and the United States who might be watching this program now about the future of space exploration, and encouraging them to be interested in space and someday doing what you're doing, but farther out in our universe?
Well, I think young people probably are in all over the world are motivated by the same thing, just having fun together, being cooperating on the playground, but then being inspired by things that are exciting, enthusiastic, and interesting to them. And that's what I think spaceflight does. It's so cool, even for us who we've been involved in the space program for as a profession. It's so cool to see a human being strapped into a rocket and blasting off. We watched with that enthusiasm a month ago when Bob and Doug launched from Florida and their rocket ship, and we knew that that rocket ship was coming straight to us. And it just gave me chills to think about it. And I hope that that's what our profession does for young people. It inspires them maybe to be astronauts and cosmonauts, but also to work in the supporting fields, engineering and the technology that allows us to do this and allows the international space cooperation to happen. So that's my hope for the young folks out there.
Well, thank you, Chris and Ivan and Anatoly. I think we're out of time, but it's been a great honor. And Vasily, thank you for joining us. Great honor to speak with you. Safe travels, safe journey back, success with the mission, and safe journey back to Earth. Thank you.
Thank you, gentlemen. Stay safe.
Спасибо. Мягкой посадки.
Station, this is Houston ACR. That concludes our event as we count down to 20 continuous years of humans living and working on the International Space Station.